So, we all know Mount Everest, right? It's the absolute, undisputed king of the mountains, reigning as the tallest peak on Earth. It's this legendary monument of stone and ice that has captured our imagination for generations. But hidden within this massive peak is something even more incredible. Mount Everest is actually still growing. Every single year, the world's highest peak reaches just a little bit higher toward the sky. It's a truly fascinating geological paradox. You see, when we look at mountains, we tend to think of them as these permanent, completely static fixtures of our planet. They just seem like finished products, carved from stone millions of years ago and left to quietly watch over the world. But as we're going to discover today, Everest isn't finished yet. It's absolutely not a frozen monument. It is a deeply active, living geological system with forces working deep within the Earth to push it higher, even as we speak. Okay, let's dive into this. How exactly can a mountain that formed 50 million years ago continue to grow today? Well, to solve this geological mystery, we have to look far past the snowy peaks and dig deep beneath the Himalayas, where one of Earth's absolute greatest geological collisions is actively taking place. We're going to break down the suspects, look at the forces at play, and uncover a brand new scientific discovery that literally changes everything we thought we knew about mountains. Section 1. Suspect number 1. The ancient collision. To really understand why Everest is growing right now, we have to rewind the clock 50 million years into the past. Back then, the landmass we now call India was an island continent, and it was moving steadily northward across an ancient, now-vanished sea known as the Tethys Ocean. Eventually, the Indian continental plate slammed right into the Eurasian continental plate. Now, normally in plate tectonics, when an oceanic plate hits a continental plate, the heavier oceanic plate just sinks beneath the other. But continental plates are incredibly thick and highly buoyant. They're simply too buoyant to easily sink beneath one another. So with neither plate willing to yield and sink into the Earth's mantle, there was literally only one direction for all that landmass to go, and that was up. And this brilliantly illustrates what happened next. The Earth's crust literally crumpled and folded upward, much like a rug pushed from both ends on a hardwood floor. Just imagine the sheer, unimaginable force required to fold solid rock like a piece of fabric. This immense compression, driven by the collision of these two continents, is what created the massive, sprawling Himalayan mountain range and thrust Mount Everest into the sky. Now, that dramatic origin story is exactly where a lot of textbooks stop. Many of us naturally assume that the collision ended once the mountains were initially formed, as if the plates crashed, the mountains popped up, and the engine was just turned off. But actually, scratch that. It's simply not true. The collision that birthed Everest never actually ended. Now, what's really interesting about this is the sheer persistence of this tectonic engine. It's staggering. The Indian plate continues to relentlessly move northward, driving itself right into Asia at roughly 5 centimeters per year. Think about that. 5 centimeters is about the length of your thumb. It really doesn't sound like much, does it? But hey, while 5 centimeters a year might seem incredibly slow to us, you have to multiply that by millions and millions of years. Over geological timeframes, that steady, creeping advance creates enormous, unfathomable pressure. It's a continuous, crushing force that literally never takes a day off. This ongoing collision is continuously pushing sections of the entire Himalayan mountain range, including our friend Everest, steadily upward into the atmosphere. Section 2. The geological tug-of-war. Now, while the Earth beneath Everest is doing everything it can to build the mountain up, there are some very powerful forces desperately trying to tear it down. Because of the massive tectonic uplift we just discussed, scientists estimate that Mount Everest rises by several millimeters each year. It is actively getting taller. However, and this is a big caveat here, that growth is definitely not constant. Everest doesn't just get a clean, uninterrupted few millimeters of height added to its summit every single year. The reality is way more chaotic. Everest is basically caught in this high-stakes geological tug-of-war. Think of it kind of like a heavyweight boxing match taking place in extremely slow motion. In one corner, you've got the Earth's crust, constantly providing this upward push. In the opposing corner, you have nature's elements: ferocious wind, expanding ice, driving rain, and massive grinding glaciers. These elements are constantly, relentlessly wearing the mountain down through erosion. So the crust pushes it up while nature slowly erodes it away. The height of Everest at any given moment is really just the current score of this epic battle. Section 3. The wild card. Earthquakes. So this slow, grinding tug-of-war isn't the only way Everest changes. Sometimes the battle becomes violently fast. The very same tectonic forces that slowly build Everest up can also reshape it in the blink of an eye. Major earthquakes act as sudden reset buttons on the landscape. When that immense pent-up pressure from the colliding plates finally snaps, it can cause huge parts of the Himalayas to rise, sink, or radically shift terrain in mere seconds. In fact, after powerful earthquakes hit the region, scientists have deployed advanced instruments and detected highly measurable, immediate changes in mountain elevations. These violent events completely shatter the illusion of a frozen landscape, reminding us in real time that the Himalayas are an incredibly active and volatile geological system. Section 4. The plot twist, a new discovery. For a really long time, the tectonic tug-of-war was the established consensus. But recent research has revealed a massive plot twist. Everest's growth is heavily influenced by nearby river systems. Let's move to the new data and see how this builds. Here's how this amazing mechanism works. First, rushing rivers carve deep, vast valleys through the surrounding landscape. Second, over centuries and millennia, these rivers act like conveyor belts, physically removing enormous amounts of heavy rock and sediment out of the region entirely. Finally, because millions of tons of heavy material have just been flushed away, the Earth's crust underneath is suddenly much lighter, allowing it to spring upward. So the crucial point is this specific concept right here, isostatic uplift. Now, it sounds highly technical, but it's beautifully simple in practice. Think of an enormous cargo ship fully loaded with heavy shipping containers. As giant cranes remove those containers one by one, the ship becomes lighter and physically rises higher in the water, right? Well, the Earth's crust does the exact same thing. When rivers wash away billions of tons of heavy rock, the massive burden on the crust is reduced. Freed from that immense weight, the crust literally rebounds and flexes upward, pushing the mountain peaks right along with it. Which brings us to this incredibly wild, counterintuitive realization we established earlier in our tug-of-war that erosion is the antagonist, right? It's the bad guy tearing the mountain down. But because river erosion removes so much weight from the surrounding valleys, triggering that isostatic uplift, erosion itself can sometimes actually contribute to mountain growth. The very forces stripping the landscape away are simultaneously making the highest peaks rise even higher. It is such an elegant, mind-bending twist in Earth's engineering. What we see when we look at Mount Everest isn't just a giant, static piece of rock. It's a dynamic, breathing engine of tectonic collision, violent earthquakes, and counterintuitive forces, where the very act of washing away rock pushes the peak closer to the stars. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If the destructive force of erosion is secretly helping build the tallest mountain on Earth, what else are we completely getting wrong about the ground beneath our feet? Keep questioning the world around you, because nothing, not even a 50-million-year-old mountain, is as static as it seems.